What's up everybody, Jeff Lanoski, welcome back to the channel. No trails in this week's episode because I am at the pump track. Today's video is going to be all about finding the fastest way around a pump track. Good old-fashioned two-wheel pump, a manual, or jumping some doubles. I'm sure most of you have ridden a pump track before. A pump track is a closed course with rollers, jumps, and berms, and the idea behind a pump track is to try to go as fast as possible without pedaling. So it's a really great way to practice pumping the terrain for forward momentum and speed. It's also a great way to learn how to get free speed while you're out on your mountain bike on a normal trail. So you might be wondering, do you need a special bike to ride a pump track? Absolutely not. You can ride these things basically on anything with wheels, especially these paved ones. However, a BMX bike or a dirt jump hardtail is going to allow you to be the most efficient and go the fastest. If you take a look at my bike, this is a Reeb Destroyer. There's no rear suspension, so when you push into the ground and pump, all your energy is going to go into forward momentum. The next thing is the tires are super hard. I'm running close to 60 pounds. The frames are low and compact. That gives you a lot of room to move around. One rear brake is pretty standard on these types of bikes, and a really stiff front suspension. I love riding pump tracks, and I love trying to see how fast I can go. So today's episode is going to be about me trying to figure out what is the fastest way for me around a pump track. I'm going to take 3 laps pumping with both tires on the ground, 3 laps manualing the rollers, and 3 laps jumping doubles whenever I can. I'm going to add up those times and we're going to see which is the fastest way around the pump track. Before we time these runs, let's take a look at the course. Roller into a slightly over 90 berm, double, tabletop, roller, camelback, set of triples, into a berm, roller out of the berm, single roller, step up, step down, roller into the berm, 2 big humps, then a step up gap, followed by a triple set of rollers, and then you could air into the berm, and that's going to take you right back to the starting platform, and that edge is going to be the finish line. I'm curious to see what your times are if you try the same experiment on your local pump track. So let's take a bunch of laps and figure this out. We're gonna head back, put this footage on the computer, and see which laps are the fastest. Let's check it out. Dropping in for the first all pumping run. So when you pump the tires, you get some pretty good speed. But over here, you don't get a bunch of speed off tabletop, and then these next 3 rollers are kind of tight, so they almost feel like they cramp you up. Once you come around this turn, it gets a pretty strong headwind, so I think that pumping is going to be the best way here to just put all the drive into the ground, and then I finish with a 23.89. Lap 2 was a 24.04, and lap 3 was a 23.92. Let's drop in on a manual run. So we start the timer, single roller into the berm. You can manual this little set of doubles. The table probably feels a little bit slower. Couple big humps, and then the triple feels a little slow because it's pretty technical. And then on the step on and the step down is pretty easy. Into the berm. These are just some single rollers. You can manual the step up, and then again a technical 3 roller manual into the final stretch. 25.07 shows that's not as fast. The next 2 laps were a 24.29 and a 24.85. Fast, but not as fast as all pumping. Let's drop in for the first jumping lap. Pump the roller into the berm, gap this double, gap the table, pump that roller, gap, double, single, into the berm, step up jump, step down jump, jump into the berm, pump these 2 rollers, gap that big step up camelback, and then pump the rollers into the final stretch, 23.62. Dropping in for jump run number 2. Pump into the berm, double, clear the table, pump, double the next step up, double, single, into the berm, step up, step down, jump into the berm, get 2 good pumps, air this thing out into the headwind,
pump these rollers, jump into the berm, in for the final stretch, 23.38. My last jumping lap was a 23.84. So if we add up all the times, pumping added up to 71.85 seconds. 3 laps manualing was 74.21. And then the fastest by over a second was jumping, 70.84. And I think the reason for that was on the first straightaway, the triple rollers were pretty tight, and when you could jump them, it just allowed you to go as fast as possible. As it turns out, jumping was the fastest, followed by two-wheel pumping, and lastly, manualing. Probably because the manual is the most technical, and I probably don't lay into it quite as hard as I could. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, get out there and be a boss.